So in this video, I just want to show how we can start using outbounds to make an API. So what that means is, and I'll show you in Postman, and then I'll show you how I got there quite easily. We can just start using the API to ask questions. So you can build models. You can upload your data and build a system around that. So for example, of course, you can continue to use the UI to test your data because you're not going to potentially hand this to a user. Hold on. So basically, you can ask a question here to test the data to see how it's working. And there'll be plugins where you could show this to the user, but they can't monitor or mess with all these other settings. And that will be coming soon. It's going to be like a cards interface. But just for now, what if you want to show this to an API or share this with an API? Well, you can just add an outbound API. And I'm going to delete it because I want to show you how easy this is getting. So basically, as an admin type person setting up the system for the company or the team, I put a source to a website. I wanted to transform it to text. It could be more complex, but I use a simple one that it's included. And then I embed the data with the vector database and all that plugin stuff. And then this is the chat one you're looking at right here. And this guy does a bunch of complicated things. Embeds the question, searches, blah, blah, blah. I've shown this already. But what we want to do is add this guy, but we don't want to rebuild all that again, so I'm just going to copy it from that one, right? But this one I don't want. I'm not making another chat UI. So I'm going to take the prompt, which is going to be key in a lot of this. We're going to do a lot more prompts. I'll delete that one, and then I'll add the chat API response type. So by the end of this response chain, it's going to feed it out to the API. So now, and actually let's look at that for a moment. It actually gives me the URL I need to use. So I'm going to copy this over to Postman because I'm going to show it working in Postman. So now, once that's set, I'm going to go get my token. So because I'm using Jetstream with LaraChain, I can just say, give me a token. I get the token, and I use that. That's simple. All right, so now that we have our token, we have our endpoint, we can then point Postman to that, as you can see up here. And we can send it. Now, let me double check, because I think I deleted that. So I'm going to go make sure I have the right ID for the chat API. Here we go. Let's go back to Postman and just paste that in. And then the question. I don't know if that's, yeah, it's good enough for this. So, and then it will give us a response. Sure, you know, the speeds are only going to get better. But yeah, that's working. It did all that with just one couple of clicks there. And you're all set. You have an API. So there's a good example of building now APIs in LaraChain.